In this section, we'll look into how to bring all the rendered animation sequence into After Effects for compositing. So we have finished rendered all the sequence, and right now we can take a look at the rendered file. And all the object buffer sequence are inside. So let's head into our After Effects. I've already imported all the image sequence into our files, and let's take a look. This is the image, and these are the object buffer 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are all the Luma map. We have bring in our final render into the composition. For now, if I want to touch up the background, I can select my object 1 and drag and drop to the top. And this one, for the scene, I just Ctrl D to duplicate. And I just turn it off. Now I have this image at the bottom and I have my Luma matte. I need to open up my matte panel. So I just go here and click. And this is my track matte panel. If I don't have enough space, I can click at the lines here. At the final rendered image sequence here, I need to assign the matte. So I need to assign my object 1 as matte. And right now, I need to make sure that this is Luma. So I need to click here to change it to Luma matte. So this is what I get. And if I toggle this transparency grid, I'll see that this layer is just the background layer. Now I turn it off and I turn on the layer at the back. And with this background layer, I can just press enter and rename it background. Over the effect and preset, I go to level and I just want to make sure that the midtone is enough and the background goes brighter. I just turn it off, turn it down a bit. So my object all stands out more. Now I want this object to be slightly brighter. I just select the object. Now this is the object 3. And what I can do is I can just drag here on top of it. And I just choose object 3. And I assign object 3 as my matte. So if I solo it, this is what I get. Yeah, I need to turn on my Luma. So, and if I solo it, this is what I get. And I can change the color. Maybe I go to hue and go back to level. Drag and drop. And I make it slightly brighter. And I need to change the color slightly. Maybe I use hue and saturation. And try to see whether any colors that I like. Maybe I put a bit of bluish and a bit of lightness. I think it's alright. I change it to a bit bluish. Alright, and I think this wood I need to make it more contrast. So I just select my object 4. I can drag and drop again, object 4 on top. And I assign my object 4 as the matte, turn it into Luma matte. So this is actually my my bridge. Maybe I take a look at it as bridge. And this is the wood block. So for the wood block, I go back to my level. And I make it darker. Midtone, I make it darker. Make the highlight higher. Make it more contrast. Alright. Let's head into the object. And maybe we just drag and drop object 5. And assign object 5, which is the tube. And I change this color. Hue. Maybe I have to change it to big. Cyan. And also because of this, I think it affected here as well. So I just reduce it, make it brighter. because of the reflection of it. Yep. So I think this is it. And can change it to bluish. I think a bit nicer. Slightly brighter. Yellowish. All right. So now if I want to make this slightly glow, I can choose my object buffer 6. Now this is a bit tricky because if let's say I have my matte on top, I just solo it, I try to add glow onto it. Now it couldn't glow out from the area. Reason being is because the matte is like a paper cut, is like cut out the part. So what we need to do is we need to pre-comb this. So I delete the glow first. I just select 2 layers. I go to layer, pre-compose or Ctrl+Shift+C. I just move everything. And I just glow over here. Now you see that the glow is coming out. We can increase the radius of the glow and can play around with the threshold. I can add an adjustment layer. Now I have an adjustment layer pushed to the uppest layer. Maybe I can add some colors onto it. I try to go for color balance. I just double click on the color balance. And you can add in the shadow. Maybe I add some bluish onto the shadow. And highlight, maybe I have some red onto the highlights. 30 maybe. And the mid-tone, maybe I can have a bit of blue. 10 maybe. And slightly green. I try to put exposure. And maybe I can have some, wow, this is a bit too much. 0.2. And by now, if let's say you want to add some bokeh to it, you can go to resources. You can import. I have some bokeh images. So I add my bokeh over here. I can scale it big. And I can just rough mask it. By selecting the layer, I can just rough mask the bokeh and increase the opacity. Now just make sure that you won't see these edges. Right now it's fine because I can just move it up here. And I can rotate it a bit. Okay, I can just scale it big. And I go to screen. And this is what I get. I can have some lights over here. Some bokeh. I can scale it bigger some more. And I can blur it off. You can go for Gaussian blur. I can blur the bokeh off because since we already increased the sizes, I can blur it off slightly. And if let's say I don't want the color, I can always go to hue and saturation and just desaturate it. So I think now I can colorize it rather than desaturate. So I can reduce the opacity. If you like add, you can add. The color will be more pop up. And I can just duplicate this bokeh and just move it to the side. You just rotate. So you can also add some lights around it. And for example, the light source is from there. You can always add a layer. Add a solid layer. Change it to black color. And of course, the size I need to fit my HD size. Now at here, what I can do is I can go to my view, or I can add lens flare. So at the generate here, I just add lens flare. I just double click. I just enter it and type lens flare. Now I move my lens flare to the side here, and you can change whether you want prime, you want 105 prime, depends on your preference. I just go for the prime, and I can choose screen or add as your preference. I can just move it here and have flare brightness. Move it further apart. So if let's say you want to change the colors for this lens flare, you can always colorize it. So for now, maybe this one, I don't think the blue is nice. I can change to other colors, or maybe maroon. So you can even animate your lens flare around. You can make your bokeh running around, move it a little bit in the After Effects. If this is a still image, it can become your style frames. So this is how we export from Cinema 4D and we import into our After Effects and put some touch up onto it.